Welcome back, everybody. My name is Gregory Chavez, the executive chef here at the Bistro. And so tonight what we're going to be doing is a duck confit with roasted mushrooms and black truffle risotto. We're going to be doing this as a kid, and so we're going to be taking it pretty far, but everybody at home is going to be able to finish it at home and kind of experience how we do it here at the restaurant. A couple ingredients that I have here that I want to go over before we start this cooking, the actual cooking portion of it. We have 2 legs that have already been cured and also poached in duck fat, and we're going to be serving them just like this, so there's going to be no fat on it. They're going to be nice and tender, but we're going to be finishing them in these pans. Next, we have mushrooms here that have been roasted with thyme and a little bit of bay leaf and garlic. And then we have a roasted duck shoe here. So this is taking duck bones that we have. We're going to be roasting them, putting a little bit of white wine on there, a little bit of vegetable stock, and then just making a nice shoe. It's going to get that roasted flavor of duck on there. And then we have the risotto here. This risotto is going to be, this arborio rice is already cooked to about like 90%. There's already truffles in there, onions and garlic. It's a little bit of bay leaf in there. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be giving it to you the way we usually serve it at the restaurant. Risotto, if it's ever on a menu, if it's not cooked in this fashion where it's par cooked, it's about 30 minutes that it's going to be taking from start to finish once it comes to your table. For us, since the Bistro is a little bit of a smaller restaurant and our crew is very tight, what we do is we're going to be doing this is where we kind of par cook it, and then once the order comes in, we're going to be finishing it. So what happens is that you're going to get it the same way that we're going to be doing it at home as well. Okay, so this rice is cooked about 90%, and then we have the stock that we're going to serve with it, and I'm going to go over that with you and how to serve that, and how to prepare it and serve it just like we do here at the restaurant. So here we have roasted duck shoe. So this is made from carcasses that we have that we roast in the oven to get nice dark caramelization on the bones, and then we make a stock out of that. We're using vegetable stock as the liquid with the bones, and then we're going to be making a nice concentrated roasted duck shoe, and that's going to be finishing the risotto. This is a little bit of butter just to finish the risotto, and then always a little bit of salt. Here we have some tasting spoons. These are the clean spoons, and then the mug for our dirty spoons. Tasting spoons are extremely important in any kitchen. Tasting periodically throughout the meal is extremely important, especially right before you're going to plate it, just to make sure that everything's on point. Here we have some just regular plating spoons. I always suggest having a few of those on the side. Always, easy access, so you can always kind of stir, flip something over, and then also plate when your dish is ready. And probably very important item here is your 2 different pans that you have. So what you're looking for in the pans when you're going to be doing this duck confit, you're looking for either a pan that has a very thick bottom so that it can retain the heat evenly and distributed through the base of the pan, or we have one of these steel pans here. These are ones at home. These are the type of pans that I cook with. They get hot very well, very evenly, and they stay hot. I think the staying hot portion of it is the part that's the most important. The reason being is because once you put the duck in there that's at room temperature into these pans, you want the pan time of recovery that gets back up to that temperature to be the fastest that it can. So that's the reason why these pans have this nice thick area on it, reinforced on the bottom, so that when you put something into it, it gets right back up to temperature. It doesn't drop too much. Next, we have a saucepan. So this saucepan is about 2 to 3 quarts. This is going to be for the risotto and for the stock. And what you're looking for is something with kind of a high side. The risotto is only going to fit into about maybe a quarter or a half of this pan, but you're looking for the higher side so that as you're stirring it around, nothing's sloshing out or anything's going over the side. Nice little handle. If the pan is too big and the base is too wide, that stock's going to evaporate very quickly, and it's not going to get the way that you want it to be. We're trying to retain all that moisture in there and get that nice creaminess out of the risotto. And so that's the reason why we're trying to get something that's kind of balanced 2 to 3 quarts in size. Really important for the risotto, a wooden spoon. A wooden spoon is nice because what we're trying to do is that as we're stirring the risotto around, it's not going to be scraping the bottom of the pan. Any kind of metal is not going to be coming up, or any any kind of flavor. So a wooden spoon is really nice. Also, you know, I just don't like feeling that metal to metal kind of feeling as I'm stirring. When we're making this risotto, stirring is one of the most important things. It naturally releases all of the starch that's going to come out of the rice, which makes the binding sauce for it. So the spoon and the metal pan is a nice combination. I suggest that's the way you go. So now we're going to be starting to get the skin crispy on the duck leg. And so at this point, we're going to have our saute pan here, also a nice dry towel, and the duck legs. These have been at room temperature now for about 30 minutes sitting out. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow for, as it's getting nice and crispy in the pan, that it's going to allow for a nice even warm up through the leg itself. Because there's a bone in there, it's really going to be working against you if the duck is cold, because that bone is going to absorb all that coldness, and it's going to take a lot of temperature to get that duck up. So that's the reason why I recommend pulling it out about 30 minutes in advance, letting it sit on the counter, and then we can start. So once we have this part here, I'm going to be turning this pan on. I want to get this pan nice and warm. The reason why we're going to be pre-warming this pan up is because what's going to happen is when you put that duck into it, if the pan is not warm enough, the duck skin is going to stick in there. If the duck is, or I'm sorry, if the pan is too hot and you put the duck into it, it's going to burn and maybe rip the skin. That's what we're not trying to do. So, you know, obviously a restaurant burner is a little bit different than home, but you know, it's just kind of a learning experience. What I do here is I'm going to wait until this pan gets nice and warm, and then I'm going to put the duck in. I want to talk about how to put the duck into the pan for safety. Okay, so one of the things here is I'm going to be taking this duck and I'm going to be grabbing it by the little leg here. This is like about the ankle of the duck leg. And with that dry towel, I'm going to be holding the pan, and I'm going to hold that duck by its ankle, and it's going to go into the pan, and I'm going to let it go away from me. Away from me is going to me putting the duck leg into the pan in that way is going to allow me to minimize the amount of splash that's going to come back on me, either hitting my arm or the top of my hand. We're not trying to do that. This is a fun activity, and we don't want to get into that burning aspect of it. So I really suggest you're picking it up. You're going to put the skin side away from you. We're going to put the duck down. Okay. Let's see the smoke now. I'm going to kind of lower the heat a little bit. We're going to put the second duck leg in. Okay. So now we're at medium-low heat. We're going to let this happen here and just kind of get a nice caramelization. And we're just going to let it go. This is going to happen now for about 10 minutes. Get it nice and crispy. Let's keep this flame on. Now we're going to lower it down to low now, and we're just going to let it sit here. So, as the duck is in the pan getting nice and crispy, what we're going to do is we're going to start warming up our risotto. And it's good to have your pan here and all your ingredients right as this, because it's going to go pretty quick. What's going to happen is what we're going to do is we're going to take the stock and we're going to put it in the pan first, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put the risotto in there. As we're warming it up, it's going to be absorbing the liquid, and that's going to get a nice creamy texture in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn the pan on. We're going to put the liquid inside. Okay, just going to get this nice and warm. And what we're looking for is that nice, at the end of this, that nice al dente, that kind of tooth bite texture that's going to be happening when you're biting into the risotto. You want that texture, but also you want the creaminess that's going to be around it. And so what we've done is we've cooked it to a certain 90% of it. And what we're going to do is we're going to finish it on the stove top at home with the last 10%. Now that the stock is nice and warm, what we're going to do is we're going to add the rice to it. And once we add the rice to it, this is something that we really don't want to walk away from. Kind of the next about like 5 minutes, we're going to want to be here and kind of stir it and really pay attention to it, because we don't want it to stick to the bottom or anything like that. So once it's come to a boil now, we can just add the rice into it. Okay. once the rice goes into it, what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of, stir it around, and what we want to do is really get this liquid to get absorbed in there. We're going to be doing this over medium heat. This isn't something we want to bring to a boil as far as like once the rice is in there. Really want to just kind of take our time and stir it up and really make sure that that the starch is naturally coming out. You can already see in here that it's already starting, that the starch portion of it's already happening. That stock is nice and creamy now as the rice is getting stirred into it. Okay, so as we're stirring this into there, kind of just wait here for a moment, and now we're going to check these duck legs. So I'm going to take a look at these. All right, skin's nice and crispy. The temperature's at low now, and so what we're going to be doing is just gently warming up the bottom side of it. You can see that not much fat comes off it. Maybe this is a teaspoon of fat that's in there. Now at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to add the roasted mushrooms into that. And so as the risotto is cooking, the roasted mushrooms can kind of just warm up in this pan, just like the duck is. And it's just kind of gently going to be happening right in here, okay? So now back to the risotto. We're just stirring it. It's a good time to taste right now. Maybe tasting it. First, you want to taste the grain itself. You're kind of looking for the texture that's in there. Kind of seeing where it's at. And then you want to taste this little cream, starchy liquid here. What you're looking for is that saltiness that's there, or that if it has enough salt. It's really important that as this rice is cooking and it's absorbing this liquid, that the liquid itself has the right amount of salt in it, because when the rice is absorbing that liquid, it's absorbing the salt too. And so when you're tasting each grain, it's going to be seasoned properly, and that's what we're looking for. At this point, we're going to add some salt into that. We're just going to continue to keep on stirring it. Okay. So for me, I'm about maybe in like another minute away. It's a good time to kind of check my plates, see if they're ready. Whoever's going to be joining you in this meal, it's a good time for them to sit down and start plating at this point. So now that the sauce, or the liquid itself, has been absorbed into it, and it's very creamy and the texture's right, what we're going to do is we're going to finish this by adding the butter. So this is an important step here, is because the rice is just about done now. I'm going to turn the heat off of this, and I'm going to be adding the butter to it. I'm going to try to take this off the burner, and I don't want to bring this butter into a super hot pan, because what's going to happen is it's going to separate. And what's going to happen if that butter separates, it's going to be turning oily. Too much heat is going to really affect that butter, and it's going to separate it. What we refer to in the kitchen is that it's breaking. What we're trying to accomplish is that there's a nice creamy texture in that. And so I'm going to bring it off the burner and just kind of keep it close, and I'm going to add the butter to it. Okay. This butter is at room temperature. That's something I really just want to, you just kind of finish it right off. And so as you can see now, the risotto texture of it is nice and creamy. It's not too moist where it's going to fall, and it's not too stiff where it's kind of like a paste. So you can see it's nice and creamy there. All right. Let's taste it again. Good. So all the textures there. It has a nice creaminess. That black truffle's coming through. It's ready to go. So we're going to start now by plating the dish. I have the duck here. It's already been seared. It's warm all the way through. The roasted mushrooms with the little thyme sprigs. And then we have the risotto. It's already at the consistency that we're looking for. Nice and creamy. The flavor's there. I've tasted everything. Everything's ready to go. So now's the time. So I'm going to start with my plating spoons and just kind of get the rice here. is. Take one leg at a time. So I just want to say that this is something that we really look forward to doing, these kits. The reason being is because what we can do is we can bring our happiness from this kitchen into yours. Here in this kitchen, not only myself, but my team as well, we're very passionate about food. We love food. It's all we do is just eat, cook, and we just really enjoy this. So I'm hoping that this love is being felt in your home too. Everybody cheers and thank you very much.